Everyone, this is Jamarl Thomas, and welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, let's talk about the media. The media's role in democracies or representative republics is to hold power accountable, to essentially say, we're going to give information to the public that's real, that's legitimate, and that would allow the public to make decisions on the people who they put in office, but also on their own lives. That's the job. Unfortunately, that's what it is in theory. In practice, it functions as something completely different. So in the United States, we have Fox News, of course, and Fox News is, for the most part, a wing of the Republican Party. And their modus operandi is to provide slanted counterfactuals to cut their listeners or their readers in a particular way. MSNBC is also a propaganda piece. And it's just that they function as an arm of the Democratic Party. The funny part is, in the same way that Democrats are least or less egregious than Republicans, MSNBC is a little less egregious than Fox News. But it doesn't mean that they don't cut stories a particular way to get across what the party is selling. Up for today's purview is Rachel Maddow. Now, Rachel Maddow, in this clip, is talking about, she's talking about essentially a PPP poll that recently came out. And the PPP poll was given information in regards to how the country sees certain events versus how Trump supporters see certain events. But notice the way this is being slanted, or notice the way the conversation is unfolding, even though this is purely just a video about polling.
Really hurtful ones. Now you get to the ones that are really going to hit them close to the heart. This is question 16 from this new PPP national poll that we've got exclusively. The question is, do you like Russia? Answer from the American people, no. No. By a 47-point margin, no, we do not like Russia. Okay, let's get specific. Do you like this man? Do you like Vladimir Putin? The answer from the American people, no, 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 no. No, by a 57-point margin, the American people do not have a favorable view of Vladimir Putin. And here's the thing. Even Donald Trump's supporters are apparently going to have a hard time with our new president's as yet unexplained love and affection for Russia, and specifically for Vladimir Putin. Those numbers we just showed on Russia and Putin and how Americans feel about them, those were for the American people as a whole. But look at the poll results just for Donald Trump voters. Even if you just ask Trump supporters, Trump voters, they don't like Russia either by a 27-point margin. They don't like Putin either by a 40-point margin. Even Trump voters do not like Putin, 55 to 15%. And that is now politically important news. I'm glad PPP did national polling on that subject. I'm glad they took a big enough sample that we're able to get statistically significant results, even for subgroups like just Donald Trump supporters. It's important. This was part of the reason I asked them if we could have this poll exclusively tonight, because I think this is a newsworthy result. This is one that's about to be politically important, because the House and Senate Intelligence Committees have both now started in on investigating Russian government efforts to help Donald Trump win our last presidential election. And the new president and his team keep dismissing the importance of that subject as if people don't care about it. But people do care about it. And people don't like Russia or Vladimir Putin. And so this issue is likely to stick to our new president as a problem, when even his own voters, even his own supporters, even now remain so widely skeeved out by Russia, and specifically by Vladimir Putin.
You know, you could pretty much transpose all of that that's going towards Russia and Vladimir Putin to the Democratic Party. It's like, this is really great news. This is really interesting political news. Well, it's great for you, because you essentially want to put out this thing of talking about anything other than why Hillary Clinton lost that election. Not to mention going around saying people don't like Russia. They don't like the Democratic Party either. Okay, or the other one. I like the other one. It was like, they're trying to dismiss this, but the public is interested. They're trying to dismiss talking about why Hillary Clinton lost this election, but the public is really interested. First and foremost, what the hell do they mean by do you like Russia? Russia is composed of like hundreds of millions of people. What exactly don't you like about Russia? That makes no sense. The question doesn't even make sense if you take it from a literal perspective. Now, it makes sense if you're trying to shape an opinion, in which case you want to say Russia, Russia, Russia. The number of times that you can possibly say it, more times you can say it. But it doesn't mean anything. Like, for instance, you don't like what, their food, you don't like their beer, you don't like the way they treat their women, you don't like the way they smell, you don't like their highways, you don't like their economic system. What is it about them that you don't like? Just saying, do you like Russia doesn't mean anything. At the very least, with the Putin question, Putin is the head of state of that government, and Putin makes certain decisions that controls how that government goes, whether it goes to or fro. So that one makes a little bit more sense. But just saying Russia, you guys are trying to find something other to talk about than why you lost that race, and something to talk about instead of having an actual autopsy about why you lost. You don't want that. That's too close to home. That's too honest. You prefer just to talk about Russia and try to conflate Trump with Russia. Russia, Russia, Trump, 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 Russia, Trump, Russia. People don't like Trump. People don't like Russia. Putin, Putin. Hey, come on, man. This argument falls flat on so many ways, but one very specific way. If you believe, which, granted, she didn't say Russia caused Hillary to lose, but she's saying it enough where she's tying those two things together so much that the context of what she's trying to say is not a mystery to anybody who's looking at it. But if she's right, if the case that she's making is that when Russia released that information, people were so aghast by what they saw, they turned away from it and couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. The problem with that argument is that the information that they released was true information. If you're saying that Russia had a hand in hacking the DNC, and Russia had a hand in getting the Podesta emails, the information they released in those emails showed the decrepitness and the emptiness of the Democratic Party. If the job of the media is to make information known so people can have informed decisions about the things that they do, under your argument, Rachel, Hillary should have lost. Under your argument, people looked at that information. They said, holy shit, did you see what she was doing when she was Secretary of State? Did you see what she was doing with the Clinton Foundation? Did you see what she was doing when they were screwing Bernie Sanders over? Did you see what she said in those Wall Street speeches? All of that shit was true. It was true. So you're trying to say that people were so aghast. They were like, oh my God, I can't vote for it, that they turned away. But if you're saying that, that means they turned away from actual information about your candidate and about that party. All right, on the second point, we don't have a leg to stand on in this. Did you know that back in, I think it was 96, Boris Yeltsin was in a race. Boris Yeltsin, Mikhail Gorbachev had rearranged the government to some degree, and Boris Yeltsin was running against a communist opponent. Members in the United States, political activists or political strategists, went into Russia to help Yeltsin mount a campaign to retain the presidency. We literally interacted in their politics in order to keep the guy who we wanted in office. Look at Libya. Libya is closer to home. We deposed the head of their state, Gaddafi. And look, Gaddafi was not a good guy. But Hillary Clinton being giggly about the man being sodomized with a machete is not, that's gross, to say the least. And when you look at it, technically, we killed a Secretary of State, or we helped depose the Secretary of State and turn that country into a smoldering fire. You go back further. Iraq. Saddam Hussein was the head of government for that country. We went in, killed upwards of 1 million people, including capturing this guy and getting this guy killed. Again, deposing another head of state, Iran, we did the same thing. CIA goes in, foments a revolution, deposes their dictator. Deposes the democratic elected government. The democratic elected government, and put in a strong man after that. We're doing the same thing in South America, knocking over country after country after country, and putting in strongmen. Yes, that's not hacking into somebody's emails. Yes, that is not releasing true information about the person who's running. It's worse. Don't you? I mean, how are you making this case about Russia when we've done shit that was so far worse? That's an amazing cognitive dissonance. To be like, just a few years ago, we toppled countries and knocked over their dictators and put those countries into this hellish type of existence. Oh, but we're mad and aggrieved that they hacked our accounts. Do you remember back in, I think it was several years ago, the United States was spying on all these countries around the world, including our allies. And when Snowden released the documentation, we were embarrassed and pissed because they released the information about us spying on everybody else. How the hell are they getting mad about this? I mean, particularly to make it the lead, spear in their campaign. It's absolutely absurd. We have so many other issues to deal with in our country with regards to elections. We do not have independent elections. The party themselves have partisan reasons. We have partisans essentially controlling the electoral mechanisms, meaning a Democrat or Republican. They have a vested interest in their candidate winning, and you're putting these guys in charge of the process. You have money flowing through politics, essentially being the lifeblood, legal bribes. I give you a bunch of money, we can call it a donation, and you do favors for me to recoup the investment that I paid into you when I gave you that money. We have people being thrown off the rolls. We have people, voter suppression techniques, using voter IDs, interstate cross-check. We have a lot of dysfunctional electoral issues. Hell, the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton had more, almost 3 million more votes, and the other guy still won. But you don't want to talk about that stuff. What you want to talk about is Russia. And I suspect you don't want to talk about voter suppression because of what your party did during the primaries when they were running against Bernie Sanders. Come on, man. Have a goddamn honest autopsy about why she lost. This red baiting McCarthyism is absolutely absurd. And not just absurd. It's creating resentments between governments. When we engage in the exact same behavior, we're pretending as if we're above it all. We're not. We're not at all. Also, on the last part, the last part is a little bit more pointed towards progressives. So, in the same way that I think these people are crazy for coming out blaming Russia for everything, and Russia did it, I think it's also just, it's not as bad, it's a little bit less bad in a sense. But progressives coming out defending Putin and Russia across the board. On some level, I get it. You're pissed at the Democratic Party. I am too. And you feel like the Democratic Party is trying to bring up Russia to obfuscate the issues with the party. And you're right, they are. That's exactly what they're doing. But it doesn't mean that Russia didn't necessarily have a vested interest in getting Donald Trump in office. That doesn't mean that at all. I mean, I make the case that of everybody who profits, Russia probably profits more than everybody else in this arrangement. Hillary Clinton coming into office likely would have caused a war, maybe even a nuclear war with Russia. She was talking about putting missile systems in Syria. Air defenses. Who are you shooting down? ISIS doesn't have airplanes. And if you shoot down a Russian jet, you're trying to tell me that Russia is just going to turn around and say, oh well, mulligan. No. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Russia didn't necessarily have a hand in it. No, I don't think there's sufficient evidence to point the finger and say Russia absolutely did it. Do I think there's some evidence that they might have? Yes, I do. But does that evidence matter? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I make the case that that's the argument. That's the argument you need to be making. Not so much that Russia didn't do it. Russia may or may not have did it. Who the hell knows? I have no idea. WikiLeaks said they didn't do it. WikiLeaks said they got the information from somebody else. I make the case it doesn't matter. The issues we have with our electoral system are separate and distinct from Russia. And if you deal with these issues, the other issue goes away. They do not want to have the honest conversation. Russia is easy. Everything else is tough. So that's essentially where things go. And that's where this conversation that Rachel Maddow is having, where she's red baiting, even though she's supposed to be talking about polls. She did not lose because of Russia. Russia released information that ended up being true. Russia released information on the decrepitness of the Democratic Party and the things that was going on behind the scenes. Now, I do not believe that that in and of itself was enough for Hillary Clinton to lose this election. Hillary Clinton lost this election on her own accord by being status quo. So Rachel, I get it. At the same token, you're being an absolute useful idiot in a sense. And you are absolutely towing the Democratic line, and you are doing press coverage a great disservice in this. You guys are tools. You guys are not giving good information. You guys are being propagandists. And this yellow journalism is strongly pushing Russia. And I make the case that they're doing it purely because the Democratic Party does not want to have a conversation about why, in fact, they could lose to reality show hosts who had an unapproval rating of 60% on the day he got elected. Come on, Rachel. You can do better than this. This is kind of disappointing. All right, guys.